When I first started talking about retiring at 55, I had a picture in my mind of what that life could look like. But after doing these videos, reading all the comments, and really looking at the numbers and being honest with myself, my retirement plan is changing. Not because I'm giving up on retiring early, but I want to make sure that I can afford the lifestyle that I really want. Let's talk about it. So, can I afford the life that I actually want? Or am I just attached to the actual idea? I've been sitting back thinking about so many different things, from reading all the comments, doing the videos, doing everything that we actually been talking about. And I'm just like, Kelly, let's run this down. Let's run this down. So I wrote a few things. I really want to make sure that I really got into this. And I'm like, okay, well, what was the life that I actually pictured I would be living at 55? Still feeling good, lively, all the things. And I'm like, you know what? I can actually live the life that I want to live now. My kids are grown. They done did college. You know, I did my part. I'm still there, but I did my part. So now I can live for me. That's what was in my head, right? Okay. Moving on. What has changed when it comes to me looking at all the housing, healthcare bills, and just being on a fixed income? Things have definitely changed for me. You know, I definitely save aggressively. I definitely do all the things that I'm supposed to do from this standpoint of where I am now in my life. So I'm doing all the things that I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm sitting back thinking about, okay, I know I mentioned how I want to be a renter. That still has not changed. You know, that's where I am, because I look at having a home as an investment. You know, I know some people, we all have our own feelings and thoughts on what a home is, and, you know, being a homeowner and having a mortgage. Yes, having a home is definitely a beautiful thing. If you need money, you can borrow off your home. You got to pay it back with more interest. All of things. It's such some good perks of having a home. But I look at having a home as an investment. Buy, sell, buy, sell. I don't bought my first house. I sold my first house. I'm on my second house, and I'm looking to sell my second house so I can get what I pretty much, more than just my equity. I want to get more on the dollar. You know, I don't want to get too excited here, but I really want to get more on the dollar. And that's how you do it. You can have a house forever in a day, living it, it's paid off and everything. You dead and gone. And then what? Yeah, go see your family, or may go to the city or the state that you live in if you don't have your paperwork filled out correctly. So I look at it like this. I buy, I sell, I made some money. I buy, right now the money is growing. I still got what I got. And you keep rinse, what is it called? Wash. Wait a minute, let me get together, Kelly. You wash, rinse, and repeat. If you're not one of like these multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar investors where they have multiple real estate properties, where they have people actually living in their properties and they're paying them tenfold, then that's different. You know, they're going to make more money. But when it comes to an average Joe like myself, or Jane as myself, you want to keep flipping your money. You want to make your properties work for you. So this property that I'm in right now is going to work for me, so I can get into my next one that's going to be for me when I'm in my retirement span. So I think about things like that. I think about how I can have my money work for me. You know, I've seen so many different comments about some mortgages are at $1,100, which is amazing. I wouldn't go nowhere myself. I would stay right there, because rent is really, really expensive. But it's also, you have to weigh the options. Everything goes up. What we paid back in 2016, 2008, and better yet, 2004 is not now. When we was coming up then, we thought that was expensive compared to what was going on back in the 80s and the 90s. Things go up, so we have to be very realistic. We have to be very realistic. So in saying all of that, I definitely have thought about our conversation in regards to renting versus buying. Made me rethink a few things. And, you know, also, I do want everyone to understand that everybody's situation is different. We all think different, and we all think that our decision is the right decision. We all have to realize that our decision is what's best for us. What's good for me may not be good for you. What's good for her may not be good for him. And, you know, we can keep moving this around. And I've come to realize when I read the comments, I feel like we're trying to prove to each other that our analogy is correct. And everybody's analogy is best for them. It's best for them. And we all live different lifestyles. What's important to me may not be important to you. You know, if I sit back and put all my bills on a sheet of paper, I'm gonna say, you know what? I'm okay with not doing that. I'm okay with renting in my retirement years where I can have all my money to myself and pay my rent. I gotta pay somebody anyway. Because at the end of the day, when you're buying a house, the first 20 years is full interest. It ain't going to nobody's principal. I don't care how it looks. But if you got 15 years, 30 years, if you just gonna buy it straight out, we all know how that go. We all touched on home ownership. We all see things differently. And I love that for each and every one of us. I love the dialogue that we're having in these comments because it lets me know that we're tapping in and it's hitting a pressure point for all of us. It's hitting a pressure point for all of us. Even myself. I'm the one talking about it. So you know it's hitting a point because I want to make sure, you know, sometimes you can do things and you think you're doing them right. And the next thing you know, things change because life changes. You think about how we sit and we say, oh, I want to get an apartment or I want to get a house. And then boom, you may say, oh, I'm going to get a townhouse. Let's just do it this way. Are we going to get a townhouse? No, we're going to get this house. Things change. So long as we know that things can change and everybody's situation is different, we're all good. But what else I've been thinking about? Through all of this, I'm like, you know what? I could be thinking about renting. I could think about buying a home, staying in my home, however that might look. Because I also said, if the market is kind of crazy during my retirement, when I get to that point, and me having my home and all the bills that I do have here is better to have than renting, I'll continue to be, I will continue to pay for my home. But if not, because I mean, it all depends on what your bills are. That's what it comes down to. But what I also thought about is the peace. I got to this point because I was looking for peace. I was looking for freedom. And I have to always make sure that is there for me no matter what. Having a home, having a rental, will it bring me peace? Will it bring me peace? Yes, no matter what you have going on, things will go up. Mortgages go up. That actual bank payment that you will go up if your taxes or your home or insurance go up. That's inevitable. We can't run from that. And even when it comes to rent, the rent gonna go up. We can't run from that. So there's things that I still want, as I mentioned, peace and freedom, but I want to be able to travel. I'm not saying you can't travel in a home. No, you can still do all of that. But sometimes think about what your pockets look like, what the money look like. I'm like, look, I really, really want to do more traveling within the U.S. and out the U.S., of course. But I'm thinking about how would that look at 55? What will I actually need? Do I need all of this? Do I need 5 bedrooms? You know what I mean? Yes, the cost may be better, but I'm thinking about all that. So what I wrote down here, I want to make sure what I still want. I want peace. I want freedom. I want to be able to travel, and I want that flexibility. And when I say flexibility, I might want to get up and move. When you have a home, you are stuck. I might want to live in California for a year. I might want to go live in Jersey for a year. You know, I might just want that. I might want to have that. You know, my mother called me, I think my mom called me a gypsy. And it's so funny, but somebody had mentioned to me, gypsy might have meant like being like a floozy. But the term that I took it as just being someone that move around. But I can get the two. I can get the two. Just someone that can enjoy life as she closed out a decade of being 50 and then being in the 50s and then going into 60s. You know what I mean? I just want to enjoy life. We all are different. We all are. And things that I know that I may have to adjust since I want to have all this peace and freedom and flexibility. And what I have here is, you know, I may have to adjust my timeline. Maybe 55 won't be it, you know? My housing, maybe, like I said, I may still be in my house. I may not be able to rent just yet. Maybe renting might come at 60. I don't know, but I know from all these conversations that we're having, it's making me think. It's really, really making me think. My income right now, I may have what I may think I have at that time, but pulling out my pension now is not a problem at 55. Because as long as I make my years and things like that, I can pull it out. 401k, that's just money. It's not, you know, Nobody's matching this money. But all my other investments and things like that, I can hold off without taking that out just yet. I can live off of other things that I do have. So I've been thinking about everything, and I am going to talk more about that in regards to diving deep more in the finance aspect of everything, because there's some things that we definitely want to know. It may not be concrete numbers, but it can definitely, get our wheels turning and gears going, that we can actually say, you know what, we're on the right track, we're not on the right track, and I need to do a little bit more aggressively in saving and pushing back. Or better yet, move and, maybe downsize in rent or downsize in housing. There's nothing wrong with moving around and adjusting your life, because this is our life. We create the life that we actually want to have. You know what I mean? You get what I'm trying to say? You know? But like I mentioned, my income and then my spending, what I do now, and also just my expectations of it all. When you sitting down and you at a place, like we started doing these videos, I want to say about 4 or 5 months ago. And here we are, we're sitting here talking about it. And I'm like, you know what? I was going through a time, and I'm going to get more about that, but I was going through a time, and I had to sit back. I'm like, you know what? Is this the life that I actually want to live? This is how I really want to be? You know what I mean? And that's how I got here. But girl, we're going to get into that. I got one for you. But what my original retirement plan actually looked like, it was just me pretty much just traveling, doing things that I actually want to do, turning my hobbies and my passions into possibly businesses, expanding more on things that I actually want to do besides just be someone's employee, things that I actually want to do. Sometimes we put our actual life on hold because we do what we have to do the way that society is built. We have to work a job. Some of us don't have an inheritance. We don't have lineage where we're being things were passed down, where we don't have to work. Our kids don't have to work. We have to go to work. I know I do. I'm not speaking on you. I'm going to speak on me. I have to go to work. So at the end of the day, I'm sitting back. I'm like, you know what, Kelly? You make time for yourself. Make time for things that you actually want to do. Sometimes biting a bullet and betting on yourself and taking that leap, that jump, where you could sit and say, you know what? I will sacrifice me not spending this kind of money, living this kind of lifestyle, so I can actually have freedom and do things that I want to do without me answering to a boss, going in, clocking in, doing meetings, doing projects, working on projects for my actual self. And that's where I am. I don't feel like life has to be hustle and bustle, but we know we have to do certain things. That's why I mentioned just changing timelines, maybe my expectations. I don't know, but we still gonna keep going at retiring at 55. We're not stopping. We're gonna keep going. And if things change, I don't want to put that out there. We just adjust accordingly. But as I mentioned to you before, the things that really stuck with me, the more I talked about it, what made me say, okay, Kelly, why do you want to rethink this? What is popping up? What's all the things that's coming up to you? And again, I wrote some things down, and it was like, this the housing cost that really brought some things up to the top. Having the paid off home debate that we talked about, that was something that I actually was like, whoa, maybe I need to really rethink this and listen to the ladies, listen to the gents and things like that. But again, I have a timeline, and I'm going strong. But those things that I actually thought about, so I wanted to put that out there. I also, rent does increase, things like that, but that's still not off the table for me. I really want to live that rent life. I want to go back. I haven't got a problem with that. As long as the money is flowing in, I am good, okay? The health care before the Medicare kicks in, and if you do have your health care, what will that actually look like? Is it full what you had when you were working? Do your job even give you that? I'm very fortunate that where I work for, my employer definitely gives me my health care on my exit. So I will walk away with my health care. I know a lot of employers don't do that. They don't give you your health care. You got to get COBRA, or you got to go out and buy something. So I will say I'm very fortunate in that aspect. I got down here living alone. I'm okay with living alone because I do like my peace. I do what I do here. So I don't need to say, oh, I need to have a partner to pay half my bills, go 50-50, or just share expenses with. I don't need that. I can do that by myself. So I don't need that. So I don't have to rethink that portion of it. But I know for some of us, we do have to think about that if we are with a spouse or with a roommate or living with individuals or a partner, however that might look for each and every one of us. That's all different. But that's not something I think about. But I also think about repairs. I mean, I know repairs don't happen often, but when they do happen, they happen. And I sit back and think about if you got to pay for something, $1,000, $4,000, one whop, put it on a credit card, pay it out in cash, however you want to do it. You still got to pay for that on a monthly basis. You got to put that money back. So you still have to pay something on a monthly basis, however that might look. Some of us may have it, some of us may not. But I'm speaking for Kelly right now. Okay? However that might look. And just thinking about all of this just being on a fixed income, you try to figure out a way to optimize your living expenses, healthcare expenses, and just doing life, groceries, medication, trips, who knows what you have to be on, all the things, right? So we got to think about all of it. So I want to share with you how my plan is changing a little bit. We're still on track to retire at 55, but I want to share a few things, that I'm doing. And that is creating more streams of income to assure that I can stay on track and be on track and maintain on track. And I don't want to sit back and say, change my timeline and be like, okay, retire at 56 or retire at 57. If need be, when we get kind of close to it, if that has to happen, I'm okay with it. But I definitely want to push myself, and I definitely want to set myself up for success. And if anybody's on that same journey with me, we can work on this together, because I really want that for myself. I really do. I really want to have the best time of my life and do things that I actually want to do at 55. Not that I can't do it now or even do it later, but we don't know when our clock is out. We don't know any of that. This is all based on science, biology, the universe. We have no clue. We could try to live a healthy life, eat right, do right, but we don't have. All we know is we come into this world and we enjoy it, and we all know that we have to leave someday. And we ain't coming back. So while I'm here with this one good life, I'm going to enjoy it, and I want to share it with my daughters, and I want to have a good time. That right there. If downsizing has to be one of my things to live a good life and retire at 55, I would. I mean, I have 5 more years to decide if I want to downsize and say, okay, you know what, I'm getting closer. Maybe I might find me a senior development. Maybe I might, who knows how that might look. I am open. I am not closed-minded to any of it, because at the end of the day, sometimes we get so caught up in society norms and what we got to do. Oh, do it this way, do it that way, do it this way. We forget about what we actually want. And one thing about me, Kelly lives a life that she actually wants, not according to society norms, because that will tear you to pieces. I have been down a rabbit hole with many things in my life in regards to the society norms, and it didn't do me any good, because society norms are rules made by, So in addition to creating more streams of income, downsizing if possible, it would be being realistic about my monthly spending habits, and also, investing more. That's something that I feel is so important. So that's like being realistic with my funds, not spending too much, don't do anything too crazy. Like right now, I got like 5 pair of shoes in my Nordstrom's cart, and I'm ready to hit go and purchase so it can come to the house. But being realistic, do I need 5 pair of shoes? Yes, I do. But do I need 5 pair of shoes? No, I don't. And it's like, you know what, Kelly, if you're going to get 5 pair of shoes, how about just get maybe 3 and use that money and go invest it? And that's where I'm looking at in regards to like being more realistic about my monthly spending. Just because you have it, I mean, you need to blow it. Put it somewhere where it can actually work for you. And then you can be more appreciative later, and you can buy the 5 pair of shoes later. Maybe. So now I want to bring it back to you. What does the life you actually want look like? What does it look like? You may not want to retire at 55 like me. I know some of you already retired. Some of you retired at 49. Some of you retired at 52. Some 55. Some are on their way in like 2 years, depending on how old you are. I read the comments. Let me tell you something. I am living vicariously through you when you say all the things that you guys are doing, because at the end of the day, that's where I want to be. And we're going to be there together. I can't wait for us to have like a daytime lunch brunch. I'm not at work, but I'm sitting here brunching with you, or we doing something together. Absolutely, I am there for it. But let me know, for those of you who are ready to retire, what that look like? What that look like? Share with me. I want to know. Share with everybody. I still want to retire at 55, but now I'm not just asking, can I retire? Can I afford the life that I actually want to live when I get there? And that question changed everything. Ladies, this conversation will not end right here. I just want to open a dialogue because you guys know I've been thinking about a whole bunch of things. And I just want to say I thank each and every one of you. I read every comment. I know I may not respond, but I read every comment. And that's why these conversations are still going on. And that's why I can communicate and talk to you in this manner and let you guys know that I hear you, I see you, I understand you. And I love the fact that we have our own opinions and where we are in our retirement, on our downslide, on retiring early or retiring at the time we're supposed to. You know, if it's 59 and a half, if it's 62, whatever that might be, or if it's 67, 72, you know how that go. But wherever that might look for you, I'm hearing it, I see it, and we're going to keep this conversation going. I want to say thank you, okay? Thank you. One thing I actually want to tell you is we are all embarking on a journey that is going to change each and every one of our lives, because we're all embarking on different decades of our lives, and it is like amazing. But I don't want to get too deep. I want to say thank you each and every one of you. And if you are a Black woman over 40 and you enjoyed this, go ahead and hype this video up. You know how we do, because it brings more women over here to us that are like-minded, that want to hear conversations just like this. And if you know another woman over 40 who enjoyed a conversation like this, go ahead and share it with her, and I will catch you in our next conversation.